I'm going to ask you a challenging question. You're going to have to ask yourself this. You can't tell me and I can't tell you. You have to tell yourself. You have to find the answer for yourself. Here's the question. Out of all the people in your life, who do you give emotional control over to them? You give them a key to your emotions and says, here you go. Okay? Now at first you're thinking, well, I don't do that. Okay? Let me just test you out here. Because we need to start at a more elementary level just to make sure I get you where we need to go. I want you to think about driving in the car. Now you could be in a big city like Nashville where I am and you're on a 4-lane interstate, or you could be in a small town and for whatever reason, someone flips you off. Someone flips you off. Now, most people I talk to, they actually get upset by that, and that just amazes me. They want to flip them off back, they want to curse them out, they want to give them a glare. Do you know what happens when people flip me off? I don't look at them after I see that. I just look back on the road as I'm driving. And then I just kind of laugh to myself, but I don't want them to see it. That's how I react. And then I forget about it, and that's it. My emotions are not controlled at all by some person on the interstate who didn't like the way they perceived that I pulled out in front of them, or that I was going too slow even though I was actually going the speed limit. I knew that there were usually cops in this area, so I played it safe, and then they passed me and got mad. Okay? Whatever scenario we need to create. I'm too fast, I'm too slow, somebody flips me off. We've all been in that situation before where someone got mad at us and did something like that. Okay? A lot of people will give that other person power over their own emotions. Their emotional state will change based on that person flipping them off. But it never happens to me. My blood pressure doesn't change, my emotions don't change. I don't even react back to the person because I don't give them power over my emotions. Now, that's a very easy thing to follow. And it made me think, well, Nick, I don't get upset with other drivers. It's not something I can relate to, Nick. Well, what about people that you actually know? It's one thing to not give power over your emotions to people you don't know, but it's another thing when you know them very well. They can be whether they're close friends, whether you work with them so that you see them arguably more than your own family, or maybe it is your own family, someone you know very well. And you know how the saying goes, it's the people that you love the most that you hurt the most, right? So it's quite likely that the people that you live with or around the most are most likely to hurt you, to insult you, to embarrass you, to offend you, right? You're with me on that, right? See, here's what gets challenging though. Just like you may be able to say, you know what, Nick, I don't give power of my emotions to someone who flips me off on the interstate. And I won't get offended by something somebody says on Facebook. Okay, that's good. That's a good start because those are people that are more on the outskirts of your life. But once that bubble is getting closer, those people closest to you have arguably the most power of your emotions. Now here's the challenging part if you're going to follow me through the rest of this video. The same principle applies. Just like that person who flips you off and you choose to just ignore it and keep going, thinking, yeah, as I drive, for some people I'll be too fast and some people I'll be too slow. I accept that. I can't change their perception of me. I got to do what I think is safe and right. Okay? Same principle applies though. The people closest to you, they're going to hurt you the most. You're going to tell them that you had a bad day and they're going to not have the right reaction. They don't show enough empathy, or they're in a hurry and they're kind of short with you. Whatever it is, we can name 1,000 scenarios and several and many would relate to you. Now, what if you said, I love that person, but I'm not going to let them control me emotionally. I have emotions for them and they're very close to me, but I refuse to give them the key to my emotions because ultimately it's my decision. Now, what happens if you actually do that? What if you say, you know what? No one in this world I will give that key to. I swallowed the key. I swallowed the key to my emotions and no one else can have them. They're in me and they're not going to be digesting anytime soon. Okay? Imagine how much easier life would be. Even if your own spouse couldn't offend you anymore, that you told them directly what you were thinking and you didn't get emotional with them. And when they're short with you or not empathetic enough with you, you just don't let it affect you. Because here's why. If you do, they have power over you. And then you're at their mercy for them to figure out what they did wrong, whatever they said wrong. You're going to have to talk it out. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Either you're going to snap back and be emotional, or you're going to reserve it and keep it in and remember that time 2 years ago. Okay? But if you're walking around life with a constant mindset of forgiveness, whatever anybody says, I don't care if I don't know them, I barely know them, or I know them very well, they don't have power over my emotions. So basically you're constantly forgiving everybody for anything that they do. Because you know how it is. If anytime you don't forgive someone, they have power over your emotions and arguably your health. Even if they don't know or care that they do, they still do. Imagine how much freer my life has become over the last couple of years as I've gotten to this point on my own and figured this out. I don't want to be a victim to the rest of the world, whether it's people I barely know or people I know very well. My mind has expanded so much. I'm so free now that other people don't control my emotions. But the only way you can begin to get there is to recognize the fact that anyone who upsets you, offends you, you're giving them power over your emotions. And if you say, Nick, that's impossible, I can't not let my spouse offend me. All right, what about me then? How did I do it? It's a personal choice, and it takes a while to get there. But once you realize that you're the one in control, not the entire world controlling you, man, it makes life easier. So I want to invite you to give this a shot. Are you willing to recognize that you're the one giving power over your emotions to other people? The first step is thinking, who controls me the most emotionally? And then to think, who am I letting control me emotionally? And then get to the point where, what if I just don't let it bother me anymore? Just like I wouldn't let it bother me if somebody on the interstate flipped me off. I want you to think about these things, because either I'm just making this up and I'm some exception to the rule, or some of the things I've said, the whole message I have for you actually does apply to you too. Yes, even you.